Welcome to another edition of Books and Things with Tom. Today's guest is Tracy Rotkiewicz, an author, a Kappa member, and she's going to talk about her two books today. Tracy started writing at the age of 8 and never gave it up. That's interesting. How did you manage to get started?
I actually went through a transition phase between the age of 7 and 8. One of which was switching to a new school. I was in third grade, and a lot of things happened to me at that point in time, and one of them happened to be writing. I just happened to love stories and everything. I used to watch all the cartoons when they used to have moral to the story and everything, and it stuck with me. I started writing like a crazy girl in my logbook every day.
Really?
So
it
stayed.
Wow. Now, did you keep all these logbooks? Do you still have them?
No.
Well, that's too bad.
Don't I
'Cause
wish?
I'd be interested. That'd be another whole book.
Yeah, just adventures, summer vacation and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Now, you live in Windsor,
Yes.
and have you always lived there, or
Yeah. Born and bred.
born and bred in there? That's cool. I've been born and bred down here. I was born in Mystic, raised in Gales Ferry, retired architect. That's about it. That's it.
Wow.
Now, you've written two books,
Yes.
and you also have a passion for music.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to talk about that one first. I was online and I watched the thing that you did with somebody, a visual radio show or something.
Oh yeah.
And talking about, I also have a passion for music. I've been in music since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I studied at different groups and whatnot. So what is your music book about?
Well, actually, there's two of them. The first one I originally did in about 10 years ago. It's called Marlboro Blues, and it's about a singer who is looking for redemption in both her personal and professional life. And she kind of finds it along the way when she least expects it.
Well, that's the way you usually do it. You say, oops, what was that?
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to write that one?
That originally took me 9 months. I originally wrote in 2004. Didn't care for it, but then I had certain things that happened along the way, and I wanted to redo some parts to it. So I did that, and that took another 3 months or so. Because I'm such a perfectionist.
Well, yeah, you want it to be right.
Yeah.
Naturally. And that's about finding your way?
Yeah. Basically, I'd say about that.
And then the other one is?
It's called The Freedom to Rock. It's a little more elaborate in explanation. It's about two guys who start their own record company starting in 68.
Oh, wow.
And one is a Vietnam veteran. He's just out of the war, and the other one is a UCLA dropout who doesn't really know what to do with his life, but then he's always loved music, and he goes to San Francisco and happens to meet Brendan, the veteran, while he's doing a rally over there, and he asks him, "What helped you get through it?" And he says, "The music." And that's just an instant bond for them.
Isn't music everything?
Yeah.
I have always enjoyed music. I just, as a kid, I remember rock and roll becoming the thing, because I'm old. And I remember rock and roll just starting out, and all the great groups that came along, and how music has changed so much over the years.
Yeah.
But it's still rock and roll.
Yeah.
And
I still like it.
It's a little different, but the basics are the same. You can't change the basics.
Yeah.
And some of the old school people are just unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Great times.
And about this the Freedom to Rock, it's also about the philosophies that these two guys pass along to their artists, because they're seen as the underdogs, and other record companies that are more successful than them financially and commercially see them as a threat. So they have to try to overcome it
Oh, okay.
in the meantime.
Wow. Huh.
But there's a lot that goes on in the 538 pages.
538
Yeah.
pages. Did you ever learn how to stop a little short of that?
No, I like to write.
Yeah.
I love to write.
Well, that's great. That's 500. That's a big story.
Yeah, it took me about 5 years.
Wow.
Doing a lot of homework for it.
Did you have another one that going now? Or?
I'm going to be working on my next one.
Oh,
It's it takes place between 60. What was it? 60, I can't remember my own story. Between 63 and 64, and it's about kind of like drag racing
Oh, really?
during that time. Just think of it as American Graffiti type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And that one's actually going to be called Ballad of Dream Junction.
I like the name.
I know. It has that musical element to it. But
Yeah, I like both these
Yeah.
names. You picked some good names. Marlboro Blues. I like that. Now, both books are being called chick-lit.
Oh, yes. I can't stand the word. But some people like to categorize things.
Ah.
And they choose, when you're a female writer, they figure that you are a chick-lit. Now, when I think of chick-lit, I think of Candace Bushnell and Sex and the City and female issues,
Yeah.
more or less, or stronger women. I don't like to think that my stories have that strong of that. It's not a feminist thing.
And yet, really not writing about women in the second book,
No, not really. There is a female character, but
which is
I
fine.
can't say she's the strongest.
Yeah.
You know, it's
But she's not the hero or the.
no. There's no heroes.
Oh, there
There
you
are
go.
no heroes in that.
So it's not really a chick book.
No, and I don't want to know what they even call males. But
What?
it's a shame that they have to label us. You know, it's enough that there's fiction, nonfiction, literal,
Yeah.
different stuff like that.
I know. There's always categories.
Everybody has to.
And the worst part is
labeling.
you try to I try to categorize because you got to put the tags on it so that
Oh, yeah.
people can find it.
Yeah,
And there's about 14 million tags
Yeah.
you put on there,
yeah.
and everybody looks at it a little differently. Now, what is the project that you're working on? The Rescuing the Rhythm?
Oh yeah, it's called Rescuing the Rhythm, the Spirit of New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be about 50 pages. And it's, I'm going to try, I'm still looking into it, but I'm going to try to put all the profits into the New Orleans Musicians Clinic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's,
interesting.
And before you even ask me, no, I've never been to New Orleans. I just love music, and this is my way of giving back. And I didn't want it to be all about me. I want it to be about like a community situation, almost like what you find regarding, I don't know, like tribute CDs or whatever, benefit,
Oh, yeah.
where the money goes to the right place, but there's a whole bunch of people that help it come together.
Yeah.
So that's what
Oh, that's
we're
neat.
doing. So we're going to have 25 writers, musicians, whatever, poetry, and the other side, the other half is going to be the artwork that will coincide with it. So
Is this got anything to do with that?
yes, matter of fact, one of our contributors. I don't know if you can get this. Should I put? Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. This is a wonderful painting by an artist named David O'Reilly. And I originally gave him a photograph from a friend of mine who took the picture of the skyline of New Orleans with Lake Pontchartrain and everything. And this is David's interpretation of that particular scene. I just loved his style. So you're going to get different types of, you're going to get sketches, paintings, computerized drawings, stuff like that in there. And it's,
Hold it up again. Yeah, never mind. Anyway,
Very good.
well, he had the thing close up there. That's okay. Uh, Now, the New Orleans Musicians Clinic, NOMC,
Yeah.
and you got a Facebook page for that?
Yeah.
And it's facebook.com/rescuing rhythm.
Yes.
And so if you're interested, that's where you go. Facebook.com/rescuing rhythm. And I think that's something that's neat. Now, do you play an instrument?
No, I actually did start out on violin
Really?
in the second grade, but it just became too much for me.
Yeah.
And I've kind of doodled with a little bit of guitar, and I have a drum kit in my garage, so
Oh.
I know a little bit more of that, but
Yeah.
it's more of a thing just to feel out now. No real wanting to be a musician and play to
I've
an
always
arena
wanted
full
to
of
play
people.
something. I play nothing. I play records.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
I consider myself a sound junkie. I take apart songs in my mind, and I just analyze them like crazy.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, I like that part. So I did that with the stories too.
Really?
So you get more than just your typical sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You get the actual making of a song. So,
Uh-huh.
and I've gotten people who've said to me, "You sure you're not a musician?" It's like, no,
You don't have to play to know.
no, right.
And that's most of it is just to knowing music and be able to, like kids think of rock and roll as the basis of everything.
Yeah.
And they don't think about classical music being part of rock and roll.
Oh no, there's so many different elements,
Oh my God.
to put together.
Yeah.
And that's why I have to really emphasize that all writers should do their homework when they write something like that, because you never know who your audience is going to be. Like in my case, I'll have musicians,
Yeah.
and they'll say, "You sure?"
Yeah.
And
You
it
better,
turns out to be good. It's like, wow.
you better be accurate.
Yeah, it's a big compliment to me.
Sure it is.
But yeah, for the Freedom to Rock, like I said, it was very, very elaborate, and you have to watch out for anachronisms,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
big time, because you're talking about time span between '66 and '98, and when it comes to arenas, which I talk plenty about, you have to make sure they're not the names of today, the corporate names.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, you have to get the Omni and yes, even the Harvard Civic Center, and when the big cave-in was in '78, so you have to do all the proper
Wow.
listings and everything.
So
It's just-
did you do a lot of research for the book?
A lot,
Yeah.
a lot. Because I wasn't even born at the time in the '60s, so I'm from 1975. So yeah, I had to do a lot, and even with the Vietnam veteran in the story, I do a lot of stuff because I didn't come around until 3 months later.
Wow.
So
So you're writing about prehistoric stuff.
kind of, yeah, predating myself, yes, I would say.
And I lived through all that.
I know.
And that's rough.
Yeah, time of revolution. I can't write about
Yeah.
stuff nowadays. It's just
No,
I
it's-
can't
it's
write about
different.
iPods and
No.
MP3s. It just
I
doesn't.
just found out we use MP4s. I don't know what those are either.
No.
I got something in the mail, it's MP4, and I can't open it.
Yeah.
Today's technology is just over the hill.
Yeah.
And while it's great in some instances, I feel bad for kids today because they don't get to enjoy holding a 45 or an album in their hands, and what a great feeling that was.
I love looking at the sleeves,
Oh,
and then
sleeves
finding
are
out all the
unbelievable.
credits, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I recognize them and them and them."
And a lot of them were
fabulous.
detailed by known artists.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
these are worth money, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
they-
I took my grandson over to my storage unit a couple weeks ago, and I was taking a box out of my truck, and it's a box full of albums, and he looked and he said, "These are all albums." I said, "Yeah." He said, "What is this?" And he picked up a picture disc, and it's got a picture of something on it, and he went, "Wow." I've never seen that before. And he picked up a colored vinyl one and a bunch. It was part of my collection. That really is nice records. Boy, he says, and he looked in the storage unit and he says, "Wow!" And he says, "I'm going to need a bigger place." I said, "Well, when I go, here's the keys."
Yeah.
But it's getting people to know it and to
Yeah.
understand it
Yeah.
in order to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it means nothing.
Yeah. Very much so. It's a shame because people don't put the same. I don't know what I want to say.
Well, they don't collect anything.
No, they don't. No, you're right.
Because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And my son grew up with it, knowing, because I'm so much into records. I had 10,000 records.
Yeah.
And I had a record store with 60,000 albums in it. And so he grew up with it. He knew it.
Yeah.
And he knew not to scratch anything.
Yeah.
Be careful with a needle, because he knew I'd kill him.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, of course, but he was nervous enough to take care of it. And people say, "I hit all the scratches on those records." Well, if you'd taken care of it, you wouldn't have those scratches.
Yeah.
And it's because it is a better sound. But anyway, I think, getting off a little track of it, but music is just a phenomenal thing to write about, and for people who are interested in music.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And
a
I
lot to
admire
be
you
learned.
for
A lot to
going
be
back
learned.
before you were born to
I love it.
get the information.
Yeah. It's just like I said, it's a passion for me.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity to mix both,
Yeah.
writing with the music.
Yeah.
And it even surprised me. I look at both of my books and I'm thinking, I did that? It's just something you don't, you wrote it, you were at the computer or at the typewriter, whatever, yeah, prehistoric. But to actually hold it in your hands and see and flip through, it's just phenomenal. It's
It
a
is,
phenomenal
isn't it?
feeling. It's like, I wrote
That's it.
that much.
That's what I told somebody. I said, when I wrote my first book, I didn't really care if it got sold. I had a book.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at it, it says, beautiful. It's like a new baby, It's,
Oh, yeah.
This is my book. I did this.
That's why I call them book babies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
But you do. You grow attached to them and think, oh, my God, I did this. I mean, that's tons of work in there.
and that's the word I was looking for. I was lost before. People don't take pride in
yeah.
what they do, whether it's a book cover or album cover. Where the famous artists
Yeah.
used to do this stuff. It was like its own type of thing. Its
Yeah.
own type of artwork. I don't want
It's
to pigeonhole anything.
it takes on its own life.
Yeah, it's its own category,
Yeah.
and it deserves it for sure. But it is artwork, and people did put a lot of
Yeah.
effort and pride into things. And even with my covers, I thought them up too.
Yeah.
Like for Marlboro Blues, it's a kind of depiction of what the main character is, Evelyn, and I did it gray because she's in between that gray stage between her, not positive, not negative, in between. And the Freedom to Rock is just, it has its own meaning to it. And when you do a cover, you have to keep it simple enough, but for people to understand what
And
it's
attractive
about.
enough so they go, oh, what was that?
Oh yeah, the selling point,
Yeah.
exactly. Before you get into it.
And are they selling well?
They're doing okay.
Yeah. And where can we get those?
You can get through Amazon.com, Monte Cristo Bookshop in New London,
Yeah.
and the book club at Broadbrook.
Broadbrook.
Yeah.
And Smashwords.
Yeah, and Smashwords.
Have you heard the latest on Monte Cristo?
Yes, I have.
That he's getting rid of it.
Selling it, yeah.
He's selling it. Basically, he's giving it away, I think. And it's going to be a co-op.
Oh,
And they're going to It's going to be a nonprofit co-op. This is the Monte Cristo bookstore in New London, and New London needs a store.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a great thing for them to be able to take he was making a living, but just barely.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do for the two of them and a baby. And so now with the co-op, it's mostly volunteers working there, and they'll have the place will be open more, and be able to continue in business. And I think that is a great thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Bank Square Books just announced that they're going to open up a new store in Westerly.
Oh.
And there used to be the other Target bookstore over there, and they just closed and went out of business. And Bank Square Books is opening up a second store in downtown Westerly. It's in the Savoy Hotel.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
So keep the indie books stores busy.
Yes.
We need them. We want them.
Absolutely.
And they're great places to go. I get it. It's like an album. You couldn't even pick up a book and you look at it. It doesn't feel the same way with the e-books.
No, not at all.
E-book is it's like a piece of glass.
Yeah, yeah.
But you pick up a book and the smell of the ink and the paper is. But see, we go back and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like you said, we appreciate
It's
that.
a physical need
Yeah.
to hold it.
Yeah. And
that
people,
weight too much.
Exactly. I've got so many books that people say, "Why don't you get rid of some?" I just can't.
No.
Because
Yeah.
this was so wrote that one. I got it autographed and blah blah blah. So I can't
Yeah.
get rid of these books.
Yeah.
And so I just tell my grandson, "They're yours.
Yeah.
Let you get rid of it." Which isn't fair, but that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Hopefully books are here to stay. So.
God, I hope so. I know the independent bookstores are banking on it.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to be at the Big E.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, yes.
I got to put a plug in for the Big E.
Oh, okay.
Because CAPA, Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association, hires 2 booths down there every year, and all the members get to put their books on the shelves so that people come in and buy the books, and the authors are there a certain number of times, whatever they want to get in there for.
Yeah.
And we sell about $30,000 in books
Wow.
every year, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of books.
Yeah.
And it's just to let you know that books aren't dying.
Yeah.
You know, the people go up there, they flock up there to get these books.
Yeah.
Because there's thousands of people going through the Connecticut building. It's located in the Connecticut building. And so if you go up there next month, stop at the Connecticut building and look for the Big E, the Kappa bookstores, because we got a lot of books. And we like to introduce everybody. That's one of the reasons for my show, is to
Yeah.
introduce people to local authors that normally you wouldn't get to meet.
Yeah. Wow.
And but it's fun. Did you
Yeah.
go last year?
Yeah, I went to go check it out.
Yeah.
To see how it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. My main thing is trying to promote the Rescuing the Rhythm, because I want to really spread the word out
Yeah.
to as many people as possible.
Yeah,
Trying to go to different music communities and everything, and dropping off postcards.
yeah,
So.
yeah. And at the Big E, you can take a couple thousand up and pass them out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And say, yeah.
Yeah. Just like us. That's all.
And it's just a great thing.
Yeah.
I've been going up there for years.
Oh, I have too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the first year I was up there, and we had a little booth, and it was just me and Dan Whitty
Yeah.
selling books.
I used to play hooky
Oh, yeah?
just to go to the Big E.
Oh,
Oh yes.
yeah. just
There were
me.
other kids there too, so I didn't have to feel so bad.
Yeah. And it's a great place to go. I mean, there's so much to see up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a tremendous day.
Yeah.
I'll probably go up this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to go up to sell books, because I'm having my books redone, and one of them I'm making a lot of changes, corrections to it, and then I don't know if that'll be done by September or not. Matter of fact, the other one's being corrected too.
Yeah.
So, Big E, good place to go, and check the bookstores. for Tracy's books. I think you find them very interesting. I think if you're interested in music and
Music-related fiction.
music-related fiction, it's a great book to look at. We got let's see, the Kappa. Connecticut Authors and Publishers is a organization that's for people, for authors and publishers. That's just what they say. And we go over there and try to learn more about our writing skills and et cetera. As a note, please continue your prayers for Senator Andy Maynard, who was injured 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we're not sure how he's doing, but say prayers for him because we want to get him back. Tomorrow night, the Park Duck VFW will have its monthly fish fry dinner, and be sure to go early. I've also constructed a new group page on Facebook called Loved Ones Lost. If you have a chance, check it out. And it's about losing loved people and trying to learn how to live without them. Next week, my guest speaker is former Congressman Bob Steele, who is now an author. He has a new book called Cursed, a story about a small town that has a casino move-in. Should be interesting and informational, probably talking all about us. Next time you're in Groton, stop in and see our new studio. And sitting down here at the Groton Shopping Plaza. And we take donations because that's the way we earn our money and manage to keep the doors open. So stop in and say hello. And I want to thank you for watching. Email me at santostom@comcast.net. And be sure to tell everybody that the show is on. Tracy, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You should be reading, and we'll see you next week.